Welcome to the Don't Count Me Out podcast. This program is dedicated to stroke survivors, loved ones, and caregivers, medical professionals, and anyone interested in learning more about this devastating disease and the warriors that face it every day. Our mission is to share stroke survivors' stories of inspiration and hope, form friendships and community, gain knowledge and insight, and the courage to dream and explore new avenues as we find our way back to living. So, my friends, the Don't Count Me Out podcast begins right now.
I guess I'll start. My stroke was last year on September 22nd, 2021. I was born with a AVM in my brainstem. Normally, they would go in and do brain surgery and get it out, but where it's located in my brain, the doctors don't really want to mess with it because if they have any complications, I can end up in a vegetative state. I'm really blessed to be alive, actually. I couldn't talk. I was on a soft food diet and I kind of graduated to where I am now. It's been a long journey, and I'm blessed to be alive. I'm blessed to be a part of this community. From 1 year going into this, it's been a really good recovery process, I guess, so far.
The videos that you've posted on Don't Count Me Out are just so inspiring, Junior. We hope you keep that up. We love seeing your progress. It's truly amazing. It's a miracle. It's great.
I didn't originally start those to inspire, motivate others. It was more like a way to keep myself honest. So it was kind of a way to keep myself going with my workouts and with different things. And then I realized other people don't have the access to everything. So at first I started doing a lot more workouts at home and doing things at home and trying to show that you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to go to therapy, right? If you don't have access to those things, you can still get a workout and you can still work on yourself and recover and work on your therapies. It graduated to this thing now where a lot of people get inspired and motivated by what I'm doing. So it kind of morphed into this whole new where it is now, where I do the motivation time. Now I'm I get so much pleasure out of doing it that I just want to help as many people as I can and change what it means to be a stroke survivor or a survivor of any kind of trauma. I noticed there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to put themselves out there. My face still has a droop. I was really ashamed of myself and how I looked, a come to Jesus moment where I was you know what, I'm just going to throw myself out there. People like it, either way it was going to work out. I just had to tell myself, accept who you are now. I'm not going to be like this forever, hopefully. So it became a thing where now I do the motivation time and inspire so many other stroke survivors that it's kind of part of my day. If I don't post and do certain things that I feel off. And I know years from now when I look back, I can look back and be wow, look how far I've come, I'm kind of glad I've been documenting everything because not everybody's okay with putting themselves out there on the internet, which I understand as well.
You just reached a personal milestone too in the last few days. And it brought a lot of joy to my heart for you because of it. And tell people the story about hearing from your friend and what happened to you when you responded to it.
Because I used to take a lot of pictures with my non-affected side. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, one of my best friends. He was like, yo, why are you taking pictures like that? Why are you not taking pictures of your whole face? And I was I felt a certain kind of way about it. He was be yourself and allow yourself to kind of go out there and put yourself out there. And now that I reached a year, my face is getting a lot better. The other day, I was able to kind of feel the sensation on my right cheek, which I haven't felt in almost a whole year. So that was really exciting. I had a moment to myself where I almost cried, really. It was really emotional. I'm so grateful for the little things now. I don't take anything for granted. It's a situation where it could be a lot worse. For me, I'm blessed that I get to use both sides of my body pretty equally now. But I put in a lot of hard work. It wasn't just given to me. I want to make that very clear. It wasn't a situation where I just woke up and I'm able to use like all my, fingers and my dexterity. Like I put a lot of work in. Those videos don't make themselves. You know what I mean? So if you put the work in, the results will come. You just need to put the work in. Nothing is ever given to you. If you work hard, the results will come.
You bet. Jeff, what say you?
What say me? Well, hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Roberts. I had an ischemic stroke on Good Friday, 2017 or 2018. I can't really remember dates too well. That's one of my biggest deficits. Motor skills. My stroke was caused by hard living, SpaghettiOs and Budweiser. That's how you want to look at it. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease. Methamphetamines, to be honest with you. I'm a survivor of a war on drugs.
Yeah.
Like a survivor of many, many things, and stroke is the least. I had my stroke in my sleep, atypical of a stroke. I went to work that day with half my side paralyzed and my face numb, and I didn't think that having a stroke because I had been on a good run using drugs, and I thought I was just coming down, to be honest with everybody. So I went to work that day doing concrete and masonry, mixing concrete, all with a limp arm and just totally oblivious to the fact I was in some kind of dangerous peril of a life-changing cerebrovascular accident or whatever, however you want to put it. Like I was completely unaware that I was having a stroke. After that day, I went home. I was kind of homeless, living in an RV at the time. I went home. I had fried chicken and drank like a bunch of Smirnoff and went to sleep and woke up the next morning. And I couldn't move my right side and thought, I better get to the hospital now. 28 hours after the first symptoms of having a stroke, I finally went into the hospital and they admitted me really quickly. Other than the fact that I had a stroke, I had to go back to work as soon as possible, even though I still had limited mobility. Like everything my whole life hinged on whether I went to work. So I just pushed through it. I don't know how to explain it. The good Lord above just saw fit that I didn't have the same deficits, and I came out of it relatively quickly without having too many affects from it, besides the mental effects. But I mean, I have a slew of other autoimmune disorders going on that keep me pushed down into a rough time. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. I continued living hard after my stroke actually, it was until me and Junior both celebrate milestones, because my liberation came when I found my daughter's mom dead of a fentanyl overdose a year ago on the 21st. And that's what changed my life. It wasn't the stroke. It wasn't the collapsed hips. It wasn't, my hands. It wasn't any of that. It was breaking free of a really terrible toxic relationship. That led me to start a lot of introspection and a lot of self-dissection. And that's when I came up with the radical acceptance. That's what happened. As I radically accepted who I was, where I was, my past, and everything that had happened, the freedom started happening, like inside my brain. And that led us on this journey together.
I think what you're talking about, Jeff, is something that's very important, because there's a lot of people out there who have had strokes because they really have abused themselves over the years. It started out, I'm sure, just being sociable, and you're a funny guy as well as just a stand-up guy and enjoy people and life, and all of a sudden you found yourself in a situation where the drugs you were taking took over your life. That happens to a lot of people. I think what you're saying is really going to help a number of people who are on the stroke survivor groups.
I think it really is, because I know a lot of people that this happens to, and they carry a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. I was just living life like a menace. I was just running my life into the ground, drinking, smoking, smoking dope, jumping rope. And, they don't want to admit the darker side to their life. Everybody wants to shine themselves in the good light. And, have to have a perfect mix of the dark. For as amount of light that we all shed, we all have that much dark. And that much dark is where me and Junior met.
Yeah.
Was through the dark side.
Go into a little bit more detail about that.
I had put out a feeler. I was like, I'm looking for like-minded individuals that are just going through it and want to reach a better version of themselves. The only one that responded was Jeff.
And I told him, I don't know. What's your mind like?
That was almost a year ago. And we've been friends since. It was kind of one of those things that we just clicked. One of the funny stories is I had been doing comedy, stand-up comedy for about 5 years. And Jeff was like, I want to I don't know how to approach it. I don't know how to start. And I just told him, I'll just go out there and do it. He took my advice and he went to an open mic and he kind of did the show. From that, we just blossomed our friendship. We talked about, like, early on, I was still having my bad days. We have good days and bad days. And, like, those times where I was like, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was kind of like a turtle and I was going into my shell. Jeff always contacted me and make sure I was okay. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, this guy actually cares.
That started me on a regimen of believing how fragile life is, and that how lucky we are all to be survivors, and that every day, last day, and not scared to do anything, because at the end of your life, nobody says, I wish I had taken that shot, or I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. I just kind of adapted that into my life, and I became like a yes man. Like, you want to do that? Yeah. You want to go? Yeah. It caused me to leave my job, my home, from California from 20 years ago, chase down the woman who I'm married to now, who I've known for like 27 years, and just go on this adventure, uproot everything I know, moved to North Carolina. And since I was already on the road in North Carolina, and Junior lived in Florida, so what's another 10 hours down the road? And it's not just Junior either. Our little rat pack of stros, that's stroke bros that we call each other, which led to, well, let's back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Back it up. We were talking about having a Zoom meeting, like a comedic basis of healing, taking that darker side of healing and laugh at the dark to make it light. And I said, well, why don't we start a group or do a podcast? So we did both. We started a group called Comedic Healing. It's a private group. Basically, it's a place for survivors or anybody really that can come in there and just let their darker side air out. It's not for the faint of heart.
Made me blush a few times looking through some of the ones that you've done.
We do our weekly show now through Strengthen You with Joy Towner. It's a half-hour show for us to just laugh at ourselves and laugh at the struggles of everyday life, not to take life too serious, because nobody here makes it out alive. And you know what? Laughter is the best medicine. And when you can laugh at yourself and laugh at others and take a minute, you forget.
We kind of got comfortable throwing our journey out on the internet. And lo and behold, a lot of other people started paying attention and they seen this genuine friendship that we had. And I hadn't even met them yet.
It's not even genuine. I love this guy.
So,
this cat right here has the most infectious laugh.
That was one thing I don't want to lose from my stroke, is my laugh. Ever since I had the stroke, I've had this funny version of my laugh. I embraced it wholeheartedly. Try to live life to the fullest and don't take anything for granted. So when I laugh, all that emotion goes into my laugh. I've been told it's very infectious. So I love doing it. I love laughing. We have these tough seasons in our life, but that's all they are, is seasons. Like, if I think about how I was, thank you, buddy. If I think about how life was for me 2 years ago, completely different where it is now. And 2 years from now, it's going to be completely where it is right now.
One day, every day is different. Like, I'm different every day. I'm from how I was yesterday to how I am today. I'm completely different. I mean, and I'm living my best life possible now. Every day is an amazing day to be alive. And when you can grasp, I mean, if you can grasp that concept of the freedom that everybody's looking for exists right in between your ears, everything else seems to fall away. Put somebody else first. If you concentrate on the negatives all the time, if you're always thinking like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, the negative compounds negative, compounds negative, compounds negative. I can't barely put my own socks on, and you have to rely on other people. And that is disheartening. But we're all people and we all count and we're all beautiful. When you can accept as part of those 4 agreements, though, that like everybody's perfect, exactly the way they are, where they're at, where you show up. You know, whether your eyes were bad, your hands are bad, you can't go to the bathroom yourself, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now for whatever reason. But you're perfectly made. in the eyes of this universe, in the eyes of the Lord, in the eyes of whoever, that you're perfect exactly how you are, right where you're at today. Either whether you think you're 15 pounds overweight, all that's in your head. All that is what holds you back. All these negatives. When you radically accept where you're at and who you're with and how you are, life gets so much better.
Just like to add, where you're at now is not where you have to stay. And there's better things coming. Sometimes when someone asks me, how you doing? I say, well, I'm doing better than yesterday and not as good as tomorrow.
You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And some days are going to be good. Some days are going to be bad. But they're not going to determine like your overall happiness. Case in point, just went to Costa Rica for 13, 14 days.
Yeah.
All of our stuff got stolen out of the back of a car. Passports, money, credit cards in Costa Rica without any way to get money, without passports, without IDs. Still had an amazing time. Didn't let it slow us down. Yeah, it was a little stressful. You know, a lot of people would let that ruin their trip. We went on to have an amazing, it was our honeymoon. So we went on to have an amazing honeymoon still.
Isn't it interesting how the traumas in our life seem to be where we have the most growth and find out who we really are?
I'm involved in quite a few messenger stroke groups that we have, just other survivors that, you know, we're getting tighter and tighter every day that we get to know each other. There's a select group of our friends, you know, Chrissy Matthews, Mary Lou Ricafronte, Wade Adams, Mazuzu Sasu, Karina Lamai. I mean, there, just to name a few. I mean, there's just Lillian Hartley. We all talk on a daily basis. People lamenting and saying how I miss who I was. I miss this. I miss that. I miss being able to do this. I miss being able to do that. You can miss doing that. And everybody is going to miss doing that. But if you get stuck there, I mean, this is the new you, the new and improved you. It's easier to adapt. When I accepted my limitations and still push them and keep pushing them, and then you can do better.
I remember Michelle Denson. I'm really good friends with her. I was talking to Michelle one day, and she told me this thing that kind of really resonated with me, and I carry it today. I never knew I wanted to be part of this community until I joined this community. No one wakes up, oh, I want to have a stroke today. You know, but this community has some of the most amazing people in it, really, if you think about it. I would have never met Jeff if you think about it. Like, we come from two different worlds. If we didn't have the stroke, we would have never crossed paths.
You know, Michelle's got a great story. She actually didn't start doing her rehab with her hand until 9 years after her stroke. She just had no movement at all. And when she was on our show, she revealed that, and I was shocked. After 9 years of not having anything or not doing anything, she decides that she wants to get into therapy, and her hand works pretty good now.
It's never too late to start, right? As long as you start and do something, keep yourself active. Whatever your limitations are, as long as you're able to adapt. I started doing like the girl push-ups where you like on your knees.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't crank out like 20 of them the way I used to, but this change that I've been going through, this radical acceptance of who I am now, I had my sister tell me the other day, I'm so much better of a human being now than I ever was in my past life. And I think that's very important as stroke survivors, is that we uplift each other.
Case in point, that's what I was going to say, is that not everybody has a solid support system out there. I mean, I didn't have any support. In fact, just the opposite. I was trying to support 6 other people after my stroke, and I didn't have any support at all other than like, you need to support this family. A good emotional support system is really valuable. And I've found that we try to do that for people through these groups that we're involved in. I mean, Don't Count Me Out, you know, Let's Talk Stroke.
Stroke Buddies.
Genius Network. I belong to a lot of groups because I was looking for a fit somewhere. And then we just created our own group so I could just, you know, fit in. But every recovery is different, just like every stroke is different. So it's really hard actually to keep people uplifted and motivated all the time.
Trust me, no.
People that I know who are the administrators for a number of these groups, they're very grounded people, and they will never sugarcoat something, and they will never give you information and make you think that everything's, you know, just absolutely perfect in their life now, even though their life's changed. You know, they'll tell you how hard it was, but they'll keep telling you don't ever quit.
the road is long. And in the end, the only competition you have is with yourself.
If you're just sitting there lounging, eating potato chips all day and flicking on TV, and you're wondering why you're not getting better, that's probably it. Take your recovery seriously. Don't think you're going to wake up one day and just, I'm back to normal. And I think it's very important that you meet other stroke survivors in person. We can have the relationships we have online, but there's something to like meeting another stroke survivor in person and being able to conversate face to face. I think that's very important, not only for your mental health, but just for recovery in general.
Stroke support groups are great wherever you're located. If you can find a stroke support group that actually meets once a week, once a month, you're spot on there, Junior. It is great to meet face to face with some of these folks that suffered what I suffered.
When you allow yourself to think that way, and you allow yourself to be part of something that's greater than yourself, you're able to kind of realize like you're not alone in this fight. We all have our own journeys, our own roads to recovery. But at the end of the day, be a part of something. Don't think you're in this alone. You're not.
You have to mentally recover as well as physically recover. The mental part of it is where freedom and everything lies. Look at Stephen Hawking, as a matter of fact.
Right.
I'm just, somebody who is completely debilitated, but still mentally strong. Everybody's amazing. Like, and their story is amazing. And everybody is like the stained glass metaphor. You take sand from the beach, right? Sand by itself is worthless. You look at sand, it gets all over the place. Sand by itself is essentially like a worthless thing. But you add enough pressure and enough heat, you get glass, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get glass from that sand. So then you take that pieces of glass and you stain it a different color. And if you stain each one of those colors, is like one of our traumas per se, right? And now you have all these colored broken pieces of glass of life. And what are you going to do with it? Well, if you put it all together in a certain arrangement, then you get a stained glass window, which people go to admire at a church with the light shining through it. So now you have sand, which is our life, which is essentially you seem worthless. Take all these traumas, put them together, rearrange it in your brain. And now you're looking at this beautiful stained glass.
That's a really good metaphor. I like that.
And you can like arrange it in such a way that we're trying to do it through these podcasts. Then you get people that stand and admire and look at that stained glass window and just be like, oh, wow. And all that came from sand, from like what you counted as worthless.
You surprise me sometimes. Like there's times, and I say this with like all the love in the world, where I'm like, Jeff, sometimes he says some crazy things, but then he says like things like that, where you're like, wow, I didn't know you had that in you, buddy.
Yeah, if you're ever at a restaurant with me, don't be my server.
I'm so happy that you are here to do a show with us. I think you're going to reach so many people with your stories.
When I saw Michelle do your show, I was like, I want to do that show. And then I wasn't even thinking that me and Jeff would ever do a show together in this capacity. It kind of worked out where we were together for the show, and
it just so happens that somebody playing matchmaker love Guru.
Yeah.
And it's a longer story, but the universe obviously wanted us to wind up in the same room together at the same time to do this, because when Bob reached out, I told him I was trampling around Costa Rica with only 3G service at the time, and I was going to be there for a couple more weeks. Little did I know at the time that I'd be, going back and forth to the embassy and trying to find money at a Western Union when they don't have any money. So much part of the adventure that made it all so much worth it. I mean, to look back one day, I mean, you're going to look back on all these times and just be able to laugh someday. Just like, oh, remember that time? Like.
We're really glad to have you guys on the show.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
You're always welcome to come back.
You guys have great stories and made some great points, and we really appreciate it.
It was a great time, and thank you for thinking about us. And hopefully we can go out there and inspire some other people to reach out.
Inspiring someone right now.
If there's someone that's watching this show and has the same reaction that you did, saying, I wish I could be on that show, email us or leave a message on Facebook. We'd love to talk to you and have you on too. We think everybody's stories are important.
Oh, I wanted to add, if anybody out there is going through something and you want to reach out, feel free to reach out to me or Jeff. I know we're big proponents of helping each other out. And there to listen and having a shoulder to kind of, whether it's cry on or have a good laugh. Don't feel like you watch these shows and you can't reach out to whoever's on there. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I'll speak for myself. I'm more than willing to listen and give you some advice.
We're here for anybody and everybody. We're just a couple guys just answering emails and, talking on Messenger and just, sharing life advice and sharing stories. And
what is the email address?
Strokes of Humor, all one word, obviously, at gmail.com is a way you can reach me and Jeff. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Messenger. And
is there one more thing that y'all would like to say before we say goodbye?
If no one has told you I love you today, I love you. Stay strong and stay positive.
Don't give up. You're not alone. The only way to fail is to quit.
So don't quit.
Don't quit. Never, never, ever.
Just remember, everybody, don't count us out. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.